Hello everyone, welcome back. I wanted to talk a little bit about Trump today. Haven't spoken about him in a while. I was a pretty big supporter of him when he was first during the first election and through his first 2 years. Now I was not running around with a red flag, a red hat on my head, but I was pretty vocally supportive on the internet. Okay, and in the last 2 years I've been very disappointed. Okay, I voted for him as a pro Second Amendment guy, and he's turned out to be pretty anti-gun rights. Okay, um, so far I was going to call this video three strikes, but he's up to four strikes already. The first strike was the bump stock ban. Okay, and if you guys look through some of my older videos, I've got plenty of videos where I am bump firing away. Okay, in fact, I teach people how to bump fire. I have videos where I teach people how to bump fire with a standard stock. Okay, it's pretty easy. You guys should look up that video. So that's my way of getting back at him for the bump stock ban. I'll teach everybody how to bump fire. But that was the first strike. Okay, that was definitely anti-gun, and you can't say that. Well, just bump stocks are stupid or something like that, because you know what? From bump stocks, we'll go to other things, like they're already talking about suppressors, but we'll get to that. They're not stopping with the bump stocks; they're continuing. Okay, strike number two was the red flag laws. Okay, the red flag laws, very upset about that, because there is a huge opening there for abuse. Okay, already with the in almost all hostile divorce cases, the first thing that they'll ask for is a restraining order. Okay, because basically both lawyers will ask for that, because basically they get to charge money for that, and then each side has to go to the court to try and get the restraining order lifted. So again, the lawyers get to charge more money. So now with the red flag laws, same deal. Basically, it is an opportunity for lawyers to make money. They will pursue, stripping people of their gun rights, as almost like standard operating procedure in hostile divorce cases. Okay, there's a huge, there's a lot of room for abuse there, and basically beyond guns, it's also it's chipping away at the right to due process. Okay, so this goes way beyond just gun rights. So number one, we talked about the bump stock ban. Number two, he supports the red flag laws. Number three, he said that he's going to think about banning sound suppressors. Okay, so this goes back to the guys that said, who cares about bump stocks? Okay, this is why the bump stock ban was so bad, because the bump stock ban is now leading to the suppressor ban, because if you can ban one, you can ban the other without having to go through Congress. Okay. So anybody that knows anything about suppressors knows that most suppressed guns are still louder than jackhammers, okay? Because the bullet is still going faster than the speed of sound, so it's going to make a sonic boom. The stuff that you see on television is absolute nonsense, okay? Suppressed guns are loud. The main benefit of it is basically it's a good neighbor policy. My neighbor, like let's say a mile down the road, he doesn't have to listen to my guns all day, okay? So it's a good neighbor policy. It should be standard on all guns. Basically, you buy a gun, it should come with a suppressor. Okay, that's what a suppressor should be. They're still loud. It's not like you can start shooting away at people and nobody's gonna hear the gun sound. It's not an arrow. It's still gonna make that crack. Okay? So that was number three. Okay, so first we got bump stocks, then we got red flag laws out of him, and now we've got sound suppressors. And then I thought that was gonna be it, but then I hear that there was some immigrant that unknowingly broke some gun law, right? I think he went to buy a gun or something, and it wasn't legal for him to do so. And I think he tried to go through the legal process, but what happened was that basically, it was illegal for him to try to buy a gun, and he was arrested, prosecuted. It went before the Supreme Court. And the argument was that there was no intent to commit a crime, because he didn't know that it was illegal for him to buy a gun. And it's kind of weird with the whole, can you buy a gun? Because as far as I know, I think that if you have if you're here on a visa, right? If you're a legal resident, as far as I know, you can buy a gun. So there's a lot of gray area there. Okay, so apparently this person, it was not legal for him to buy a gun. It went before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court rightfully said that there was no intent, so he's not, guilty of a felony. But the problem here is that Trump basically told the Supreme Court to leave the decision in place. Okay, that this guy should be guilty. So basically, that's strike four. That's, to me, I don't see that. Some people might look at this and say, well, he's trying to stop, the illegal immigrants, but I don't see it that at all. I see this as more of an anti-gun move. Okay, so basically, I got 4 anti-gun moves out of Trump, and it's not like he's tried to do a whole bunch of stuff in our favor. He's done absolutely nothing in our favor. I mean, we've lost ground on gun rights since he took office. Okay? Now, that all said, I'm not a fool. I know that any Democrat would most likely be way worse than him. Okay, so I'm not a fool in that respect. I mean, come election, I will basically pick the candidate that I think is, I can't even say the most in favor of gun rights. I'm going to say that who is the least anti-gun. Okay, realistically, I mean, people say, "Well, go third party." I mean, third party usually means you get a Democrat elected. Okay, I mean that's the reality of it. But here's the thing: it's like I can't be enthusiastic about Trump. I can't go out and campaign. I don't even want to be vocal because it's embarrassing for me to go out there and say that, yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump when all he's done is infringe on my gun rights, and that's the thing that I love. I'm the only thing I love more than my guns is my kids. Okay, so I mean, I can't go out there and speak in his favor. I mean, I think he's really taking us for granted. I think that, he's aware that, we really have no alternative, that if we vote for a Democrat, we're going to be in a much worse situation. So he's aware of that. He has these rallies, and, every once in a while he'll throw up the word, "Oh, we'll protect that Second Amendment." And basically he expects our ears to kind of flip up when he says those words. But I'm not buying it. I'm not buying any of it, and I'm making this video because I want to make sure that the word gets back to him, that we're not buying that. Okay, the guy is anti-gun. He's not done one thing to promote gun rights. Okay, he's done 4 things against gun rights. So those are my thoughts for today. I just wanted to put it out there for you guys. And like I said, I am aware that, if we get a Democrat elected, it's going to be a lot worse for us. I mean, and I also acknowledge the fact that he has helped us to the extent that he's appointed a whole bunch of conservative, originalist judges to the federal courts and to the Supreme Court. Okay, so that's probably going to help us in the long run. In fact, the Supreme Court did go against him in this last decision with that immigrant who tried to illegally buy a gun without knowing that he was doing so legally. So the court did go against him. So, I mean, I guess that, if we can get him to give us another Supreme Court judge, maybe 2, in the long run, that will basically further expand our gun rights and protect gun rights. So that's the strategy that I see. I mean, I don't see an alternative. I mean, voting for Democrat is definitely going to hurt us. Voting for third party is basically going to get Democrat elected, who's going to hurt us. So I guess I don't have an alternative, and unfortunately he knows that, which is why I think he's doing the things that he does. He just doesn't give a shit really about what we think. The thing with Trump is that this guy, the only thing that this guy values is money. Okay, I mean that's the problem with him. I mean, when he first got elected to office, the first thing he tried to do was sell off federal lands. Okay, basically the forests. He tried to sell them off for development, because the problem with him is, like, he doesn't look at these trees, he doesn't see any value to this. Okay, to me this is where the treasure is. Okay, these trees here, the hotels, the casinos, that's all garbage. That's just New York City is a concrete wasteland. Okay, but to him that's what's valuable. So with 2 totally different ideas in that respect. I mean, and I'm coming from a business background. I mean, my background is accounting. But to me, it's like, I use business. I use my, I used all my in my experience and my business sense, so I can buy this stuff here, so I can appreciate life. I'm not making money just to make more money. Okay, I make money so I can enjoy life, so I can be out in nature, so I can, I can have my kids out, enjoying the countryside. I don't make money just to make more money so I can make more money. Okay, and that's where his mind is. That's the only thing that this man values. So those are my thoughts for today. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it. I'll see you guys next time.